Sonic 2 is the first game that I remember playing. Obviously, I've probably played something before that, but the very first video game console that I ever had as a kid was a Sega Genesis and the pack-in Sonic 2. It was a great time. It's actually a game that I've never completed, but I've always had a fondness for the Sonic franchise. I'm not one of those Sonic fans that are out there because they are, let's just say very nicely, the most dedicated fandom that I can think about. And while they weathered the storm of the early 2000s, actually I would say that entire decade of arguably subpar releases, they ended up getting out to the other side with the release of Sonic Mania, Sonic Generations as well, and now we have the follow-up that's out there, and because of their dedication keeping the franchise alive, we ended up getting some of those good 2D, and in the case of Generations 2D and 3D releases, and now that there's finally a follow-up, Sega has been caught with their hand in the censorship cookie jar to appeal to what exactly? Because here's another reason that I kind of, just took a step back from being a real fan of Sonic for as much as any sensible individual could be. When they started to expand the cast to include a bunch of really strange people, because obviously it's like the slow inclusion of Tails and Knuckles, like that was all well and good, but then when they started to get into sexy bats and stuff like that, it's like, all right, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna get out of here real quick. That's weird. But you want to talk weird? Just take a look at some of those Sonic fan forums and then just see some of the fan art, which would make the Wicked Witch of the West, see a previous video, and make her toes curl if you wanted to see what your average Sonic fan thinks of Rouge the Bat. But Sega, with the release of Sonic X Shadows Generations, I guess they're bringing in Edgy the Hedgy for the new Generations game, which is like, yeah, okay, I guess it kind of makes sense because you have a new Sonic movie coming out towards the end of the year, where Keanu Reeves is going to be voicing the titular ultimate life form. Ugh. And I suppose more characters are going to have a more pronounced role, including Rouge, apparently. All right, then. It's just she's going to have an updated costume design in so much as they decided to cover up the slutty bat. What? Okay. And perhaps one of the most bizarre examples of a video game remake censorship seen in the medium's entire history. Yes, leaked footage has revealed that Sega has covered up Rouge the Bat's bare back, while at the same time taking no action against Amy Rose for sporting the same look. But we'll be coming back to one of the most divisive characters in all of Sonic canon in a very short period of time in the upcoming Sonic X Shadows Generations. All right. The design change from the Winged Jewel Thief, I think I read that appropriately, was confirmed just a few days ahead of the upgraded remake's official release date, courtesy of the game leaking early in its entirety to the wider internet. Really? Seizing upon the leak, a number of excited fans voluntarily proceeded to dive into Sonic X Shadows Generations contents, therein exposing them to everything that the game had to offer. And yeah, some of those more ardent Sonic fans probably really delved into a lot of this stuff, including its full cutscene offerings. And in one of those cutscenes, a number of fans, including Twitter user Crack932, discovered that where once the original Generations depicted Rouge with her bare back, as featured in all of her appearances since her introduction in Sonic Adventure 2, and originally included in her design to both emphasize her femme fatale cat burglar character. She's a cat burglar, but she's also a whatever, and allow for her to freely use her wings. Yeah, exactly. Her latest outing saw her leotard extended to fully cover up the same area. It's like, why? Don't make no sense. What, now she's got to cut holes, but apparently doesn't? Maybe it's just, maybe simultaneously this is censorship, but then it's also becoming more risque, so now her entire torso is black. So think about that one real quick. Further, the same design change has been applied to Rouge's appearance in the currently airing on YouTube anime tie-in series Sonic X Shadows Generations Dark Beginnings. Yeah, there you can see her back. Right, we're analyzing anthropomorphic animals' backs, bro. Like, this is where we're at. This is what Sega's doing, okay? Instead of releasing games that can currently capitalize on the revivification of franchises long suffering and getting into a new golden era, seizing on their very popular announcement that realistically, well, that's actually coming up on a year removed at this point at the Game Awards last year when they announced like 6 or 7 franchises coming back from the dead. Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi, Streets of Rage. Like, there was a bunch of different things that they like, yep, no, we're coming back hard here in the future. Them seeing what's going on in the wider video game landscape across this year and going, yep, you know what we're going to do? Exactly what's leading to the follies in the industry. Smart move. Notably, according to her depictions in the series, while her back is now covered up, her shoulder line still remains exposed. Small detail, yeah, that still does nothing to help explain why she can still use her wings through her clothing. Yeah, exactly. However, while the idea of Rouge showing any amount of suggestive skin that was seemingly deemed too risque by Sega, which I'm not too sure canonically, this is a Sonic fan thing. I don't know how old Rouge is supposed to be, but I also know that, yeah, Amy Rose, who still has an listen, man, this shit's weird, okay, however you cut it, but Amy, who is at one point in time this super clingy wannabe girlfriend of Sonic, she didn't have her clothing changed at all. She got a different form of censorship, which people are pointing out, which is far more insufferable because, okay, here you have her description, right? I think this is in Generations. At least that's what the graphics lead me to believe. So, young, cheerful girl, Hedgehog, Amy, can be obsessed about chasing Sonic. She even claims to be his girlfriend. She's an energetic go-getter who lets nothing get in her way. So that's the original. And here you have the remake. It's a little bit smaller. I can't size it up, but I will read it for you and obviously link out to it. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and double check me for posterity's sake if you're so inclined. But a cheerful girl who loves to help others. Sonic inspired her to be her very best. She's an energetic go-getter with the help of her Pico hammer and fortune cards. Nothing gets in her way. So they added the whole combat mechanic, which if you wanted to flesh out her biography, I guess that makes sense. But then you changed it to, oh yeah, she's a clingy wannabe girlfriend of Sonic, to Sonic inspires her to be her very best. I mean, take it from somebody who is a self-professed Sonic aficionado, and the fan base, who is known, at least in video game spaces, to be the most rabid, is not taking it well. Okay, my most beloved franchise is now a victim of censorship. It pisses me off. Western writers now believe women loving a man is seen as a bad trait. They're erasing Amy Rose's vibrant personality, a girl who's always been romantically obsessive over Sonic. You say romantically vibrant, I say clingy psychopath, tomato, tomato, and shows, yes, intense passion for Sonic. It's a core part of who she is. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a one-dimensional character. Think of, like, if you're not exactly familiar with the context, just think of classic Harley Quinn, the way that she would be obsessive and clingy over Joker, and how Margot Robbie and her interpretation just turned her into one of the most insufferable cinematic characters, not just in DC, but in all of film. Is that what they're trying to do here with Amy Rose? Amy motherfucking Rose. You're trying to make her into a more complex character than Sonic's shadow, and no, we're not talking about edgy anymore. And it doesn't stop there. They're also changing cutscenes and dialogue, all in the name of misguided battle against so-called toxic masculinity. Even Rouge the Bat's bare back has now been censored. But what else are you talking about? Changing cutscenes? Oh yeah, we got this right here, and you might see it from somebody else who is a big Sonic fan, as you can tell, by his collection that's down there. He's got everything, apparently, which I won't doubt him on that one. But how you got in Generations how Sonic normally treats Amy with a lot of disdain, like, okay, cool, you can go ahead and be there, but still just, I'm busy right now. Okay, face palms are right there. It's funny. It's a comedic beat. I remember playing Generations back in the day. Don't remember if I beat it, but I got a fair ways through it. It was a fun game, especially the 2D sections. The 3D sections, there's a reason a lot of people fell off of Sonic, but now you change it to giving her cupcakes? Like, what? Where did you get the cupcakes? And B, why would you reinforce bad interruptive behavior with treats? Doesn't make a lot of sense now, does it? But as Joshua points out, why? Why is it that every series I love gets messed with? These are freaking animal characters, and the current industry can't even tolerate silly, flirtatious antics between them. A part of the characterization for more than 3 decades. I'm so sick of this, Sega. All I wanted was for Sonic X Shadows Generations to be true to form so I could proudly enjoy it alongside the rest of the series. This is among my favorite franchise in gaming history. I mean, I would profess that I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. Oh, you can kind of see it. It's just behind there. But yeah, it's about the only only piece of video game merchandise, like outside of just, like collector's editions and stuff. I don't even think I have like a gaming t-shirt or anything like that. But then again, anyone who has to say that they are a gamer is in fact no true gamer. But I don't even have that much stuff. The Final Fantasy stuff, as this guy has Sonic stuff. I would have just said that that's his favorite franchise, but it's among his favorite franchises in gaming history. But yeah, even with, like, if the Sonic franchise was to go ahead and censor some of their more cringe entries, like, I don't know, getting rid of the Werehog, decanonizing Sonic and the Black Knight on the Wii, completely and totally redoing Sonic 06, like, I think that would be pretty high up there. No, they got to make Amy less clingy, and they got to put more clothes on the sexy bat. What? Sega, take a look around at the rest of the industry and realize you are making a catastrophic mistake. This is not a road that you need to travel. You managed to weather the storm with the colossal failure of the Dreamcast to thrive and survive, and to try to relaunch some of your more profitable franchises. Don't make that same mistake again, following the trends of an industry that is on rapid decline. Note your failings, listen to the feedback of the actual fans, and do like what happened with the original release of the trailer for the Sonic movie. Take the fans' critiques to heart, and they will pay back your consideration tenfold. There's a reason that we're talking about an upcoming third Sonic movie, and we're not talking about that one time that they had Teethy the Hedgehog and how unsettling that was. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.